This monster can mimic humans. The woman lies down on the ground. The monster also followed the same action. Then it hugged the doll with its body. This aroused the interest of the female scientist Tina. Tina decided to observe it up close. She cautiously approached the monster and reached out to touch it, but suddenly slipped on the slime. The monster was frightened and frantically grabbed Tina's leg and dragged her inside. The commander hurriedly turned on the flash, which scared off the monster to save Tina. For further study, Tina watches the monster eat. Soldiers take the prisoner to the cage. The monster soon appeared. The prisoner was so scared that he kept struggling. The next moment, the monster jumped on him and pulled off his head and ate it. The second time, Tina could not bear the prisoner was eaten, but blocked the prisoner. The monster immediately assumes an attacking stance. Tina sang a song. The monster gradually calmed down and listened carefully to the melody. At this point, the prisoner tried to escape. The sound he made alarmed the monster. It quickly pounced on the prisoner. The poor prisoner is eaten by the monster. The monster was abused and put in a mailbox. It was in a very bad state, but because of the link with Constantine, it crawled out of the box. It only took a few seconds for the monster to kill all the soldiers next to it. Finally, the monster jumped from the roof of the car to the commander's head, directly making his head cracked open. The girl's face was bulging everywhere. Something was writhing beneath her skin. She was terrified to the extreme, yet she dared not call for help. In the next second, her hand also began to transform. Countless tentacles extended from within her body, suspending her in midair. She morphed into a massive pupa. A train conductor saw the walls smeared with an unidentified substance, only to be suddenly pulled by the tentacles. He was entirely swallowed by the gigantic pupa. This monster is a fly bred by scientists. She was born in the form of a young girl. Her name is Michelle, and she escaped from the lab after eating the train conductor. She evolved into an adult beauty. Michelle wanted to experience love. She held a man's face, started kissing him, and in the end, she kissed him to death. Unfamiliar with the human world, she aimlessly crossed the road and was sent flying by a car. A kind-hearted person took her to the hospital, but within a short while, the wound on her back began to heal automatically. Michelle fell in love with a handsome man and wanted to have a child with him, but she was rejected. Infuriated, Michelle drowned the man, having murdered. Michelle found herself pursued by the police. She decided to kidnap a woman and concoct a ruse of her death. Michelle cut off her thumb with iron tongs. In a little while, her thumb grew back. She put the severed thumb in a bag, then cut off the thumb of the woman next to her and threw it away. During a police chase, Michelle drove off a steep slope. However, she jumped out halfway, leaving only the kidnapped woman in the car. The police found only a burnt thumb. After a DNA comparison, it was identified as Michelle's, so they all believed that Michelle was dead. Michelle wanted to reproduce to pass on her genes. She found her target, stripped, and approached a man who did not refuse her. 3 seconds later, Michelle was pregnant. The man no longer held any value, so she killed him. The police chased her once again. Michelle transformed into a monster, suddenly leaped out of the water and drowned the biologist. She then hid somewhere to give birth. As soon as the child was born, he appeared to be 5 years old. After he ate a mouse, he took on his monster appearance. In the next second, the small creature was incinerated by a flamethrower. Enraged, Michelle strangled a man with her tentacles. As the police fired shots at her, Michelle was hit several times and kept retreating. In the end, she fell into a sea of fire and died.
A man had parasitic worms injected into his hands, but instead of causing harm, his palms gained immense strength, shattering everything they touched. Quickly, the worm spread through his entire arm, rendering him unable to control his movements. Desperate, he injected himself with penicillin to kill the parasites, but they became even more active. Angry and realizing the severity of the situation, he pulled out a bottle of insect repellent from his pocket, intending to swallow it. However, he squeezed too hard, breaking the bottle and spilling the contents. Now, with no medicine left, the worms continued to writhe inside him, causing his arm to swell and redden. The pain was unbearable, and his arm wreaked havoc in the room, destroying everything. Seeing the chaos, the man devised a plan to escape and seek medical help. Gathering his strength, he punched through a 10-meter thick wall, creating a large hole and escaping. However, he was quickly apprehended by the police, his arm now fully exposed. In a panic, he grabbed the police officer's machine gun, which disintegrated upon contact with his hand. In an instant, he grabbed the officer by the neck, and the officer's throat turned red, then carbonized, crumbling into ashes. Realizing he couldn't control his deadly touch, the man fled, commandeering a car to get to the hospital. But he forgot about his lethal arm when he touched the steering wheel. It snapped in two, unable to steer. He saw there was no road ahead and slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. He crashed head-on.